Hello. This is Doctora Cindy Bautista Tomas, and this is the round two video tutorial for the 100 Hispanic Women Scholarship Program Review. And so this tutorial video is going to be a little bit different than round one because some of the reviewers have not completed the reviews. Therefore, we're unable to advance everyone to round two. So what I'm going to show you are the questions and how you're going to preview each section when it's time to do the round two preview. And so let us go on. I will share my screen and go to the dashboard. So everyone will go to apply.mykaleidoscope.com just as you did for round one. Then it will guide you to this section. You'll press reviewer, and then it'll say 100 Hispanic Women Scholarship, and then you press here where it says score applications. You will then choose round two. We only need 2 interviewers per candidate for the round two, which is the Zoom interview. And so you decide amongst your programs how you divvy that up. I think what will happen is Denise will probably just automatically assign whoever reviewed candidates one's applications to round two process, but we understand that that doesn't mean that everybody will have a chance to interview the candidates. And those that reviewed candidates outside of your program will reach out to you separately about who you will be interviewing. And so we would click round two here, and then here you will find the names, and then here is where you would click on that you will be reviewing the candidate. We are unable to click on here because not everyone has completed round one. And so once you've completed round one and let us know who is advancing to round two, then that is what clears this up for the candidates to be reviewed, is we have to advance it in the system manually so that it can appear here as score application. And so this is where you will click and then find that next screen that will take you to all of the questions. But because we're not able to do that, I'm going to do it on the back end so that you can hear the questions and hear the rationale around scoring the questions. So I will stop sharing my screen for a moment just so that I am going to the appropriate area for you all. Thank you again for being amazing folks in this process. We thank you all for your patience. We thank you all for just being amazing. Okay, and we will. Okay, here we are. And so, never mind all these today. Enter full screen. Okay. So, firstly, you will be responsible. So each of you are the chairs of the programs, right? I'll send out an email again. When we send this tutorial out, we will send out an email where we'll detail who are the program chairs for each of the programs. And so your program chairs, you would have informed them who's going to round two. We'll have that information in advance. And then you'll get to figure out, whose video conferencing information you get to use. We have 100 Hispanic Women Zoom account, but you would have to get in touch with Milagros to be able to access that. I know that most people have just been using their personal Zooms or the Zooms from, there's a free Zoom option that's up to 45 minutes. There's also Google Video. Google Video doesn't have a limit. So you could also use Google Video if that works best for you. And please note that it's really important so that we can be in integrity to the scholarship process, for you to only ask the questions that are detailed here in this round 2. Of course, there'll be questions you might want to sort of ask clarifying questions if someone responds to a question that you asked. And we're not saying that not to do that, but you want to just be careful that you're not adding questions here that you're not asking every single candidate, because then it's not fair, and then we're not being in integrity with this scoring process. And so for section 1, we ask you here to rate each applicant's response to the questions and assessment areas. And so the way that we are rating it is in the following way. Number 1 is below average, number 2 is average, number 3 is above average, number 4 is excellent. And you're going to enter the score in the score column for each question and provide any relevant comments in the comment section. The total score will be calculated at the bottom. What you'll find is that almost every candidate that submitted an application is pretty stellar. And so it's going to be up to you all, and we understand that the responses, the way in which you react to the responses might be different, right? Depending on your experience, your life experience, your professional experiences. So we just ask that you do your very best to rate it objectively as you can. And so when we go to section 2, it asks, what makes you the best candidate for this scholarship, right? And so again, what you're going to do is choose either 1, 2, 3, or 4. So what's a below average response? A below average response might be that they didn't even answer the question that you asked them, right? They weren't even paying attention to what you asked. An average question is that they answered the question, but sort of bare minimally. Maybe the body language was just very mundane, right? And so you might choose average for that. Above average is someone who answered the question. Maybe they had some rigor, some passion, some enthusiasm around their responses, right? And then excellent is like, wow, they blew you out the water, right? They answered the question, they were able to respond with enthusiasm, they were able to respond giving appropriate details to the question, right? And so you want to rate it according to how you perceived your candidate to be during the interview process. And then we leave room here for any comments. So ideally, you want to have it so that while you are interviewing the candidate, you have this pulled up so that you could write down the score and the comments as you're interviewing the candidate. So that way, at the end of the interview, you press submit and it's already in the system. And so I said ideally, understanding that everyone's situation is going to be different. Some of you might decide that you're going to take notes and then go on to the Kaleidoscope system afterwards. We just ask that you submit the responses within that day or two, so that once you've made a decision about who the awardee is going to be, and that's a decision that you will each make in your programs, there's something that then we put into Kaleidoscope, sort of letting the candidate know that they did not make it to the next rounds, right? Or that they are they have been chosen for the award, and then there's going to be next steps after that. So I just wanted to share that. So then we scroll down to the section 3. The next question is, what motivated you to go to college? Same thing, you're going to give a score from 1 to 4. And again, for each question, there will be, you could always go back and see what does 1 mean, what does 2 mean, what does 3 mean, what does 4 mean, right? And then again, there'll be a section here for comments for you to then what some programs might want to do is do the interviews and then spend some time discussing the candidates, and you'll get to sort of review your comments and make a decision based on that. Section number 4 is what is your 5-year plan? So what is their 5-year plan? You can score it here. Again, 1 through 4. Something to note is that for each candidate, it doesn't indicate when you pull up to score them which scholarship they applied for. So that's something that you will have to do your due diligence in identifying so that you are keeping that in mind as you're scoring the candidates. So what is your 5-year plan? The score is here. And then of course the comments. Section 5, how do you see yourself giving back to the community and others? And again, we're looking for the scholars to answer the question. There was quite a number of scholars last year that weren't even paying attention to the question, and then they responded to something completely different. And so you definitely want to keep that in mind as you're scoring. Like, how do they see themselves giving back to the community and others? Next, and then again, you would score it, and then the comments. For section 6, describe a challenging situation and describe how you handled it, right? The same. You're looking for them to give you some level of detail, some affect in terms of how they're answering the question, and particularly as it relates to who are they as a leader, who are they as a community member, as they're responding to these questions. And then again, you'll have an opportunity to indicate comments. Section 7, what is your greatest area in need of improvement? Some people like to call this areas of weakness, right? We decided we wanted to use strength-based language. And so we said, what is your greatest area in need of improvement? And so again, we could score from 1 to 4, and then you would indicate your comments here. Section 8, if you're selected, what do you hope to gain from this scholarship opportunity? And so again, 1 through 4, you indicate the score here, and then you put in comments. As you can see, the comment section is required, but if you're someone where you have, maybe you don't have a comment, then you would put an A because it won't allow you to advance to the next question if you don't put anything here. So section 9, what did you choose? Why did you choose your area of study? Again, you would choose 1 through 4, and then indicate the comments here. And then additional assessment areas. What is, in this area here, is there anything here that you would like to include about the candidate that wasn't already addressed in the questions, right? And then the very last section is the ability to communicate. So evaluate the applicant's ability to clearly and effectively convey their thoughts and ideas. Consider clarity, coherence, and overall communication skills. And again, this is 1 through 4. How did the candidate express themselves? Was it clear? Did you have to ask a lot of clarifying questions? You would keep that in mind as you score that section. And then again, you would indicate some comments. And let's talk about appearance. We thought that was important because there have been some folks that get on the video conference and they look like they were going to go hang out. And also what we realize is when we're talking about appearance, it's not only, is professional attire being worn? Are they groomed properly? Do they look like they just rolled out of bed? Are they wearing a head bonnet, right? There was a candidate we had last year that she was on her way back from doing laundry. So she wasn't dressed professionally, but she had a story to tell. And we realized that in doing the scoring, while she wasn't necessarily dressed, business attire, we thought that her overall demeanor was very appropriate given her circumstance. And so this is going to be really dependent on the candidate. And so the score section is here. You would indicate comments, and then that is it. And then you're done. So you would let us know then which one of your candidates. So we're going to preview the scorecard. This is what it's going to look like, right? This is exactly what it's going to look like here. The questions, the score section, and then the comments. Okay. I'm just showing this here. that you could see here. So the additional assessment areas is the ability to communicate. I misspoke earlier. I thought that was a section where you added other things. But and then this is the appearance section here, and then you're done. So once you have the score, you all will discuss which candidate then will advance to be your winning scholar. I hope that this tutorial was clear, concise, and we thank you again for your time, energy, effort, and attention to completing our scholarship review process for the 2024 scholars. Have a fantastic rest of the day. Take care, and do not hesitate to contact me or Denise should you have any additional questions. Have a fantastic rest of the day.